We've got the Yeti SB130 in the work stand today. Got some great rides on this bike recently, and the Switch Infinity is in need of a little bit of lubrication. So we're gonna clean that up and put some new grease in. You can see one of the grease fittings right there, but this bolt has to come out, and there's another grease fitting back there. You can see the other part of the Switch Infinity is kind of hidden back in behind the swing arm. I have the Switch Infinity service page of the Yeti SB130 manual open. I'll include the link below. This is saying we need a 5 mil, 10 mil, and a grease gun. So there's our 10, there's our 5, here's our Yeti grease gun. I've got the Yeti SB130 in the work stand here, wheels off. Gonna work on the Switch Infinity. You can see the little bit of dirt built up in there. I can get to one of the ports here, but need to pull this axle to be able to get access to everything back in there. You can see there's some leaves and other debris. This bolt came loose fairly easily. Maybe just had a few Newton meters of torque on it. Let's see, it's going to back out here. Tapered bolt. Little washer on the end there. And now put our 10 mil in to get that loose. So now we've got our 10 mil. That's going to fit in there just like that. This is actually an axle that's going to be right there. So this is in here pretty tight. So I've got an old handlebar here for extra torque. Slide this on, and that's going to loosen right up. So we'll keep turning over here. You can see this axle is just backing out, and this whole axle is going to spin. And there we go. Swing the, look at that. Back end of the bike just swings right on up. Now, good use for this old punctured road tube is holding my rear triangle up out of the way, so I can work on this Switch Infinity. Clean it up. To clean up the Switch Infinity link, I've been just flossing one of these shop towels in through here. You can see the whole thing will slide up so that we can see, you can slide it up or down. Feels nice and solid in there. I'm going to keep wiping it, cleaning it. Here's a good look at how the Switch Infinity is set up on the SB130. It's interesting that the little Kashima shafts are stepped to fit on one side on the bottom. See where they come out over on the other side. And then on the top, they're on the opposite side. So got a really solid link there. And this one feels really good. Still got a little bit of dirt there around the seal. I think that's actually going to come up when we pump the grease in. I had to work at the grease gun a little bit to get it going. Had to squeeze the tube while injecting the grease. But you can see that that fresh bead of grease is coming into the top of the switch infinity there. And just going to try to push it up now. There we go. So the grease is coming out of the top. I'd really like for some grease to come out down here as well. All right, grease coming out of the bottom. Good bit of grease coming out of the top. Same thing visible here. Some grease coming out of the bottom. Again, I'm going to push the switch infinity down there and do a little more cleanup. Look at the dirt that showed up right there. Okay, all cleaned up. Sliding nicely. Ready for reassembly. I used some of the grease that was left over from the gun to grease up that axle. I pulled the nut out of the drive side of the frame. I'm going to clean that up. Again, I'll use this Switch Infinity lubricant from Yeti just to make sure that all these pieces are lubed nice. Hopefully avoid any creaking. So I didn't wash the bike before doing this, but I am going to clean up these little spots, these parts of the frame. I cleaned up that little nut piece, greased that up, and put that back in, and put it back together. As I bring the swing arm back down here, I'm going to make sure that I thread my brake line back into the frame there. Using my 10mm hex key to make sure everything's lined up there. And then just push that on in. And I'll have to hold that piece in place. Tighten this down with the 10mm. I need to look up the torque spec on this. Do that now. So you can see we greased up this collet piece. This is this tapered bolt, and make sure that's up to torque as well. And we're pretty much done. You can see it's all nice and clean in there. Should ride nice and smooth.